Hello?
Hello?
Hello? Babe,
Hello?
is that you?
Hello?
Oh my God, where have you been?
In hell for a while. Now I'm back.
Hey everybody. Let's assume for the moment that there is still an everybody to talk to.
Maybe a couple.
All right.
Our friends.
Our friends?
Our friends will listen for sure. Hi, friends.
Okay. Hello, friends. Yes, only the people that are listening to this right now. I mean, you've got to be our friends. Otherwise, what the hell are you doing here? Quick quiz, babe, as we start the first Pod of Thrones of 2020. When was our last podcast? I didn't know the answer to this either. I cheated. But
August 22nd, 2019.
That's not bad. That's not bad. Good job. It was August 4th, 2019.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Which was the final episode of our San Diego Comic-Con 2019 coverage.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we posted a lot of content for Comic-Con, and apart from that,
we've been silent.
Yeah, sorry about that, you guys. Life got a little busy.
Right. Hectic.
Some could say. It was a few different things. Do you want to talk about any of them?
Oh my gosh, I don't even remember, but so many things have happened.
There's health stuff. There's
my mother.
Your mom was back in our lives for a while. Look, if you guys don't know anything about Jennifer and her mom, go over to the Kid Free Weekend podcast. Look up an episode called, what was it called? Breaking the Cycle, I believe it was called. One of our early episodes. Not that we've posted anything on that feed either in a long time, but it's educational.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she was back. We were working on another project.
What was that? What was that?
You don't even remember anymore.
I don't even know. I have projects in my mind all the time. So
and some of them are real.
Some of barely any of them are real. Maybe one or two.
Yeah,
this is one of them.
Here's a thing. Besides some aspects of life that got kind of busy or weird or dramatic, we were also working on a project where we were going to move into the world of video. Does this ring any bells yet, babe? Okay.
That's right. Even though we just talked about it. I forgot again.
Right, I know, it's weird. Yeah, a friend of ours was looking to do something with equipment that he had, and we collaborated on a project that I guess crashed and burned. I can't even really tell you why it didn't work out. It just didn't.
Well, because our friend got busy and he was the producer.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. I think he just kind of lost interest. I don't know. There is a video that exists on the internet that has you and I talking about a board game. If anyone cares enough to see what that is, just contact me. You know how to reach out to me.
Why don't you just say it right now?
What? Well, I'm not going to read out a link to YouTube, but it's not on our other channel. So
we don't have a link to it on our.
I don't think so.
We should do that.
Well, we should update our website and stuff.
I
know. See, as soon as I said that, you sighed.
We need help, with stuff. That's why we don't podcast, because we don't have, it's all you.
It is all me.
It's all you. All I do is sit in this chair every once in a while and look at you and smile.
Do you want to do more, or is that all you got?
I don't know that I can be trusted to do more. I might mess it all up, delete the whole thing.
You might hack our website and turn it into porn. Actually, that would be okay. We get a lot of hits. Anyway, just, contact me. You guys know how to reach me. At Pod of Thrones on Twitter or...
And what is the video of? It's you and I talking about gaming, right?
Board game, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did we do a game?
That's the tease.
Was it the game?
Do you not remember what we did?
I don't know what's up. We've done a lot. We filmed a lot of game time. We filmed a lot of game time. And
it was a board game based on the movie or movies of It.
Oh, you're right. Mm-hmm. That was our very first.
Well, actually, we did something even longer ago. We've been talking about this extra project we were going to do for probably 2 years. Mm-hmm. And it was just so close to getting off the ground. And then our partner...
I mean, it's not that hard. We can just set up cameras and we just got to stitch it together.
It's the editing part.
I can do that. I will learn how to do that. I'll use my phone, right? One of the film editing apps on my phone. That's all I need.
I mean, maybe. Yeah.
Why not? YouTube's got something. I think.
No, not anymore, unless they've launched their new suite of tools. But anyway, the point is this.
That's our...
Here's the only reason I'm bringing that up.
Okay.
Which is, there was a short there was a reasonable window of time there when we were working on this and didn't have time to podcast. And then it was like close to being ready to be released, and then close, and it just kept getting drawn out. But flying over my head this whole time was like, the next time we do a podcast, I want to announce the launch of this new extra project we did. And since it then imploded, and then I got kind of depressed, that next podcast never happened. And then there were other things like His Dark Materials, the new quote unquote HBO series, or Watchmen.
Right.
And every time we talked about maybe starting to watch those, I was like, okay, but I want a podcast alongside that, so let's do it. And then I just had no will.
Right. It's okay.
I'm sorry, people.
It's a lot.
But it's fun. I like podcasting. It is
fun. I love it too.
It feels good to be back in this uncomfortable chair.
I mean, we should really just post it the way it is.
What?
So you don't have to do the editing. You just post it.
I don't do much editing anymore.
Oh, well,
I mean, I really just balance the levels.
All we really had to do was talk then.
Yeah.
Just don't get, I mean, come on.
Well, taking notes on the episodes and all that. Maybe that's unnecessary. But now, okay, so here we are. We're recording this on Sunday, March 15th, which happens to also be the premiere date of Westworld Season 3.
Whoop! We watched Westworld.
I don't know how, but that appears to be the thing that sparked us to finally get it back into action. I was really excited for His Dark Materials. Still kind of am.
Didn't we? I mean, isn't that what we watched a season of? No.
You're thinking of The Witcher.
No. I'm thinking
What are you thinking of?
I'm thinking of the, the kids that all were special and had powers, and that guy adopted them.
Oh, gosh. You're thinking of The Umbrella Academy.
The Umbrella Academy. Yeah, that was good.
Yes, that was very good. You didn't quite watch all of it, but you were kind of in and out.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm really looking forward to season 2 of that. And The Witcher. I think we're going to talk about The Witcher here. I think many of you, if you watched Game of Thrones and you haven't watched The Witcher yet, go get a free trial of your Netflix account so you can check it out.
All have watched The Witcher. Probably. I mean, if they're listening to us, they're nerds like us. So
I gotta say, there's this thing going on. Like, what?
Maybe we should rename our podcast Nerds Like Us.
Maybe we should. Well, there's a question. So Jennifer's been telling me this for a while. Now that Game of Thrones is over, and I mean, not everyone was as disappointed as we were, but now that it's over, should we still be calling ourselves Pod of Thrones? And I think, well, I mean, kinda, because it doesn't hurt necessarily, but
maybe we should call our podcast Pod of ... And then
that'll be a fun one for search engines.
We'll have subsets. Pod of Thrones, whenever the new series comes on, although it's not going to be called Game of Thrones anymore, but whatever. And then we watched Westworld, and then whatever else, Umbrella Academy, or what else? Random, I don't know. Pod of Rando.
Yeah, well, we would love to hear your thoughts on that. Should we rename the show now the game? And God, I mean, since we last talked, a whole pilot they filmed, I believe they filmed, and then HBO canceled the entire project.
Project? So they're no longer doing side stories?
Well, they had 5 potential spin-offs or prequels or whatever, extra Game of Thrones stories in the hopper. The first one that they said they were going to bring to production was the First Men. The Long Night. As far as we know, it was going to be, the original war against the White Walkers, the Night King, and all that stuff. And it's done. It's done.
I heard that they were still doing the Targaryen story.
Well, so there's something else that they're working on now, but I haven't seen a lot of information about it yet. I also haven't looked very hard. So, feel free to enlighten me, anyone that's listening, or I could try digging it up. But today, I guess we're going to talk about Westworld mostly, right?
We watched Westworld.
I was thinking as we were talking about like Umbrella Academy and Witcher and Westworld and just, I mean, even Game of Thrones to a very small extent, but a lot of these shows are really getting their jollies off of the whole multiple timeline thing.
I hate it.
And it's
so confusing.
It's a lot to handle.
God, that's why they lose people.
Maybe. Yeah, because it's too confusing. The Witcher, you didn't even know how confused you were through the first 4 or 5 episodes of the 8-episode arc. But then at the end, you're like, what the wait, who? Wait, what? Fuck.
Right.
So we're going to rewatch that show, I think. Okay. And then we'll do some episode by episode recaps of it, because a second run through is going to be way easier to understand the ins and outs of when things are happening. Mm-hmm. It doesn't really help that all the main characters in The Witcher don't age. So you really have no idea.
They just dress differently. Sometimes.
Yeah.
not The Witcher. He never changes. He must smell bad. Or maybe his kind doesn't have BO.
He probably doesn't sweat.
Yeah.
That helps.
That's a thing. I mean, in the olden days, they didn't have deodorant.
My mom doesn't sweat. Are you talking about that?
No, I'm talking about in the olden days. When people would dress like that all the time in leathers or whatever they're wearing. Uh-huh. And they're not wearing any deodorant and they're walking around and they must smell so bad.
Oh, yeah. And I think, leather's bad, but from what I've heard, I think the Armored Knights had it the worst. The smell of rusty metal from all the sweat inside your...
God, the smell of your Taekwondo thing must not... It's like...
Hey, we're doing Taekwondo now. Right. We talked about that. My Taekwondo outfit?
Well,
thanks for singling me out.
You can... No, yours gets smellier because you sweat more than I have a smaller physical body. So I don't produce as much sweat.
Though. Emotionally, you are huge.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Ginormous.
Physically, I'm the ginormous one. Always have been.
Anyway,
multiple timelines. Wait, what were we talking about?
Smelling.
Oh, smelling, being smelly. Westworld has the same thing, though. Now we know the hosts probably don't smell because they probably don't sweat.
Why make them smell?
Do they sweat? I don't know if we've ever seen a host sweat.
No, I think they do. I feel like I've seen their shirts, the men's shirts, sweaty pits.
Pretty minimal. They don't sweat like we do in Taekwondo class.
No,
even though they're in the desert.
Nobody sweats like us.
But what made Westworld so infuriating and confounding on so many occasions through the first 2 seasons was that they all dress the same. That part they don't age. The only person that ages in the whole show is, William, right?
Right. He's the only one that you think is real.
Once you find out who he is, as the Man in Black, spoilers, he is the only one that if he's in a scene, you have some sense of what the time continuum is. But then season 2 had different timelines that weren't far past and far future. It was
maybe a month ago.
Yeah. Well, it was 83 different timelines within, probably 2 weeks.
Right.
I don't know. It was fucking crazy. So we just went and rewatched the season 2 finale to refresh our memories going into season 3 tonight.
And I think I must have not watched that show at all.
Yeah, there were a few times during the viewing where we didn't watch this. I was like, yes, we fucking did.
I think I fell asleep. Totally fell asleep.
You might have. I was confessing to you earlier, I guess confessing to you guys too. Maybe you all know this, but we did 9 episodes if we watched Westworld season 2. And we never did the season finale recap.
That so sucks.
I know, we're terrible. We also promised once.
Well,
do you remember this? We promised a season 1 in 30 minutes recap.
That
never got released. Do you know why, everybody? Because it's goddamn impossible. That's why. That show is way more complicated with the nitty-gritty details than Game of Thrones.
We don't know if we're right. It's
well, yeah, you got to decide what to cut out, but
right. We have our theories of what's happening, but we're probably off base on some of them.
Probably. But Game of Thrones, much easier to recap whole seasons in 30 minutes.
Go read the Wikipedia page. I'm sure there's one.
Who? What?
For the recap of the entire season 1.
Of season 1? Sure. Yeah, but season 3 looks like it's going to take a completely different flavor, which I think is an advantage at this point. Because if we're going to talk about, I don't think we need to talk a ton about,
what's already happened.
I don't know, how William used to be in love with Dolores and then turned into a horrible rape monster that was probably also a robot.
No, I would like to see, you kind of know, it's just because he's been doing it forever. But he got bored. But I would like to know what the psyche was. How do you go from being in love with somebody to raping her?
Well, we saw all that happen, didn't we? I mean, she broke his heart and then...
Right, but come on.
I mean, they kind of fast-forwarded through a lot of stuff. But in season 2, we got to see William slowly kind of get gray and then eventually turn into the Man in Black that we know, as he was working with Mr. Delos himself.
Right.
The owner of the corporation that makes all these robots and his quest for immortality. So we got to see William age up a little bit, and maybe it was through that process of trying to make this perfect clone of a real human that he realized, or not realized, but decided that these things were nothing but fucking piece of shit machines. So it didn't matter if he tortured Dolores or not. I don't know. I mean, he was torturing her for revenge too, for breaking his heart, I guess. I don't know that
confusing.
We ever got all the answers on that, but what are you going to do? I don't think we will get the answers on that necessarily. But
no.
And we don't know really what's going to be season 3. We don't know if the previews have kind of only shown us the modern real world. We haven't seen anything in the previews leading into season 3 to indicate that they're going to be in the parks. Whether that's Westworld or Samurai World or whatever.
Everything's already happened, so I can't imagine why they would ever go back there.
Yeah, I don't know. Unless, I mean, they might want to go back there because it's their home once they, kill all humans and they can reclaim their homeland or something. I don't know. But we don't know if we're going to see the park. But we do know that Dolores gets out. So I thought we could just take a few minutes.
Wait.
What?
They might need to go back to the park because she left the little marble there.
Which one?
I don't know, whatever was on that.
Oh, she had a bag full of marbles.
Right. Well, but okay.
You think
they ended that show with a shot of the marble that Dolores left there. Although it wasn't Dolores, it was.
I've already forgotten that.
Okay,
that's amazing.
Let's talk about what did happen that you do remember.
I thought let's run through. I've got the IMDb page up for the show. We're not going to talk about everybody because not everybody's a major character. But I'm going to scroll from the bottom up, and we're going to talk about some of the major characters, and we're going to try to just talk about where they last were seen.
Okay,
and we'll go from there. Well, we've got William and Logan, the young versions. So we're not going to see young William again, probably. I mean, maybe a couple flashbacks here and there. Logan, of course, dead.
Yes.
He was last seen.
I think.
No, he definitely died from, heroin or whatever. But we did see him return as, the essence of the computer.
Right.
So he could be back, but as a very minor side character. Let's see. Well, when we ended season 2, most of the hosts had gotten killed in Westworld. They were on their way to the Valley Beyond, which was how would you describe the Valley Beyond?
A prairie.
Well, but getting into it.
Oh.
What was it?
It was like when they pulled aside the screen at that one movie with Jim Carrey when he hit the wall, when he was in the ocean.
Oh, right. Shit.
Okay. That show. And it was kind of corny. It was
Truman Show.
Truman Show, right?
Yeah.
It was kind of corny. It was like a rip in the program, I guess.
Yeah, which only the host could see.
Rip in the holodeck.
Sure.
Which is the view of another holodeck.
Well, and they thought they were entering the promised land. But
they were entering the real.
And but what happened was, as
world.
They walked through this door, they were leaving their bodies behind, which of course fell down a cliff.
But we could still see their bodies.
But their spirits.
Projection.
Yeah, whatever you want. Yeah, projection. Sure, that's as good as anything. We're entering this new valley, the Valley Beyond or whatever.
Where they're free.
But they're actually locked inside a big database called the Forge.
But they don't know it, and it's just like the cave.
They don't know.
The allegory of the cave.
Right. I think so, too.
I might be wrong.
Was that season 1 stuff? I remember we talked about the allegory of the cave.
I don't know
why.
But, right. I mean, that's the thing that gets me. They want to be out of this world. Well, this world is not good. That's why everybody's trying to escape it and come to your world.
That's true. And they they think they've escaped the park, and I guess they kind of have, but they are now only in digital form.
Right, which is okay because they're not being like tortured by the guests anymore. They're free. True. This is better for them all around. They don't want to go out into the real world because it sucks. They should stay in their imaginary.
But only a few of them made it out. Most of them wound up massacring each other, which we'll talk about as we go through this list of characters here. But the first one, as I'm scrolling on the IMDb page up, is Armistice, the blonde gunslinger.
Snake lady.
With the snake tattoo, right. Yeah, she's awesome. I love her. Last we saw her, she's dead.
Right.
But any of these hosts could theoretically come back. We got Felix and Sylvester. They're
real people, aren't they?
As far as we know. It's still kind of weird that they're Felix and Sylvester and they were paired up.
Yeah, that is a little weird.
That's very weird. But as far as we know, well, they're definitely alive. As far as we know, they're real people. They're alive, and they were tasked in the massacre in front of the Valley Beyond with deciding which bodies of hosts could be salvaged and which ones they might as well just ditch.
Right.
So they have a job to do. Maybe that leads them to making sure the Armistice gets salvaged.
Hopefully.
It's possible. Let's see. Hector. Kind of the same thing, right?
Yes, I like Hector.
Yeah, he wound up being very noble. Really cool guy.
Mm-hmm.
Elsie. Oh. Well, Elsie's not a host. And she did. We just watched that.
She kind of deserved it in the end.
What?
Well, I mean, when what's her name was saying, keep your mouth shut and you can have whatever you want. And she's like, okay.
Well, yeah, but Elsie was trying to play it cool so that she could destroy the company from the inside. Well, Charlotte certainly thought so.
We'll never know now.
So Charlotte killed Elsie because she didn't think Elsie could be trusted.
Right.
Charlotte's probably right, but Elsie, unfortunately, I mean, I liked her. She was all right.
I didn't like her so much.
Lee Sizemore, the master of stories.
I like him. I hated him in the beginning, that makes him a good actor.
He had a great turnaround, yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he did.
Right. And all he really had to do, he came out in this stupid ass speech, and then all he really had to do was say, hey guys, I'm not a robot.
Yeah.
They went the other way.
Well, they knew he wasn't a robot. They kept asking him to throw down his gun. All he had to do was keep talking and delay them while the others got away. He didn't have to...
And misdirect them.
It was a good speech, but he didn't have to make it end in his own death. They shot him in the arm first. They were trying to be nice about it, and he went and...
What an idiot.
Yeah. But... Drama.
All right. Yeah. It's a show.
Ashley Stubbs.
Who's that?
Luke Hemsworth, the hunky security guard.
Oh, Ashley.
That's his first name, yeah.
He looks like a Hemsworth.
That's why I called him a Hemsworth.
Oh, did you?
I literally just said the words Luke. Wow. Are you high right now?
I'm stubbed by the Ashley Stubbs.
Okay. He is indeed a Hemsworth, which is why he couldn't be killed off. You can't kill off a Hemsworth.
Uh-huh.
Got to keep those around as long as you can.
Of course.
So he's alive.
Yeah, and he's a host.
No. Well, not that we know of.
He just said he was.
No, he didn't.
Yes, he did.
What, the thing about the speech about his core drive and all that?
Yes.
I got the impression that this is what I thought. Shit, fuck. God damn it. The impression I got was that he's a full-on human, but that whole speech he gave to Charlotte was to let her know that he's on her side because his job is to take care of the hosts, and he knew she was a host. You could be right. We've never seen him leave the park. I don't know. Fuck. I mean, anybody could be a host. They could throw us for all sorts of curveballs.
Okay. Move on.
But at least he's alive. Clementine. Oh, her last name. I didn't think we ever heard her last name. Clementine Pennyfeather. That's a good name.
It's a good fake name.
Yeah, that's a good fake name.
Clementine Pennyfeather.
She's dead.
Yeah, she's very dead, thankfully. Jeez, she was toxic. She was a little toxic.
She did like a lot of trolling, getting people into fights. She went out with a bang, but didn't really do a whole lot of talking.
No, she was brain dead. All she was he like emitting this crazy, I don't know, perfume that made people go crazy. Kill each other.
It was the same like cheat code destructive thing that they had in the Kingsman. Remember the first Kingsman movie when the cell phones made everybody kill each other?
Oh,
that was what Clementine was doing.
Okay.
I'm not sure who stole that from who. But Clementine, they put that code into her after they lobotomized her, but they got the code from Maeve because it was her Maeve Jedi mind trick, blah, blah, blah. So they programmed her to make sure that the hosts would all kill each other.
All right.
And it mostly worked.
Okay.
Mostly. But they still shot her, so she's kind of dead. I don't think she's coming back. I can't imagine that they have much left for her to do. Dr. Robert Ford, played by Anthony Hopkins.
Yeah.
Dead? Definitely dead.
Well, yeah, dead. I don't know.
Well, I'll say this.
He could not, I mean.
There have been. No, wait, never mind.
So.
That doesn't make any sense. But we could see him again.
If he's not dead, then he's definitely a host.
Well, no, I think he's been dead the whole time since the end of season 1.
Right.
But Bernard keeps seeing him. So will Bernard continue to see him? It's possible.
Yeah. Oh, you mean, so you think by dead, do you mean he's not coming back or physically dead?
Well, I mean physically dead.
Okay.
Yeah. Like the character's dead. We might still see him again in memories and whatnot. Teddy. Do you think he comes back?
Yes.
She took his brain. Dolores took his brain after he killed himself.
I think somebody else will bring it back to life.
Little brain sphere.
No, she didn't kill it. Oh, she took it.
She took it. Yeah.
Right. And I think that's part of what's in the little marble that was left also.
Yeah. That might have been one of the marbles.
I think that was the one because she brought that there specifically.
Well, we know the host brains have that like indestructible metal pod, but then on the inside, is it one of those marbles?
Right.
It could be. They look just like the encryption key for the forge, but I guess maybe that's just what USB drives are in the future.
Little marbles?
Yeah.
Like those mouses? Like we have
Yeah, we have some of those in a trackball. So Teddy, we got to see Teddy again.
I think so.
I just came up with
Unless he wanted to move on for some reason.
James Marsden? I mean, he's doing fucking the Sonic the Hedgehog movie. This is much better work. He's got to come back if they let him. I just came up with a theory. So let's talk about Charlotte. All
right.
Charlotte dead.
Charlotte's dead.
But she got killed by her own host, her own clone.
Mm-hmm.
And then it turns out inside that clone was Dolores.
Right.
Right. So Bernard killed Dolores and then made a new Dolores, but it looks like Charlotte, but it has Dolores's brain.
Right.
Because everything has to be confusing. So we know Dolores is fine. Charlotte gets out of the park because Stubbs let her out.
Mm-hmm.
And
how does she pass the...
We should call her something else. Charloris.
How does she pass the scan when they do the scan to see if you're a robot?
Stubbs was in charge. He pretended like he had scanned her and he said she's clean. No one else talked to her.
Oh, they didn't get it because they were like getting ready to. And he's like, no, let her go.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Okay.
So he's the one that got her out. And we know that after that, Charloris went to Bernard's old house and made a new body for Dolores. So Dolores is now Dolores again.
And then they made a body for
Bernard.
Arnold.
Bernarnold.
But
here's the question. And we were talking about this before we started recording. If Dolores is now Dolores again, are there now two Dolori in the form of Dolores and Charloris? Or
no.
Or, and I just thought of this now, maybe she didn't have time to make body after body after body. Maybe she replaced Charlotte's brain with Teddy.
Ooh.
That'd be a great way to get Teddy back into the story.
Lovers.
And they're gonna fuck, and it's gonna be so hot. Anyway, the Man in Black, played by Ed Harris, who coincidentally also in the Truman Show. So he's you go. You describe what's happening with him.
I don't even know. He's trying to figure out if he's a host himself, digging in his arm. That's where they start.
Well, but he is a host.
Is he? Because he's digging in his arm and he didn't find anything. Did he?
Yeah, it's like servos and motors and shit.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't see that. Anyway, God, I don't know. I don't know where he's at in the end.
Well, we don't know if... So, William is the Man in Black. So those two timelines, as long as we can reconcile that, we don't know if William is alive.
Who's William?
The real William.
Oh, okay.
So at some point he got old and turned into Ed Harris.
I thought he was the real William.
Who?
The Man in Black.
Well, but... Fuck. Okay.
William. Let's call real William. That's the real William.
Real William grew up, had a kid.
Looks like the Man in Black now.
He now killed, but now eventually gets old.
Owns the company.
He's in control of the company, or he's one of the board members.
Yeah.
He might not be in full
he's
control.
the major guy.
I mean, Delos is dead, right? We know that. But we know William became a prominent person in the Delos Corporation. Fine. But the William that we've seen inside the park is a robot.
Yes. Are you sure?
I'm not sure he's always been a robot, but he was in season 2. So is real William still alive?
I don't know that you're right.
We saw it. He blew his hand off, remember?
Yeah, it doesn't look like robot parts. It doesn't. It looks like a mangled hand.
Ah, damn it. I mean...
All right. We might have some to cut. We might have some editing to do after all.
I will consult. No, hold on. I had a different webpage open for a while, and let me just verify this. There's from an article. This was one of my top matches when I was looking for Westworld season 3 info from menshealth.com. Yeah. Of all the places, this is where you go for your nerd information. We didn't watch the post-credit scene at the end of the season 2 finale, but during a post-credit scene, we found William sometime in the future performing a fidelity test with a host version of his daughter, so that's cool. The scene implies that William's consciousness was somehow downloaded into a host. Perhaps the entire season was just a fidelity test. Okay, so then later in the park, William kills Don blah, 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 because he thought they were hosts. I'm pretty sure he's a host. He's on the beach now, and he's headed back to the human world. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he's a host. They don't actually say it here in this article, but they do.
How's he going to get back to the human world?
Perhaps the entire season was just a fidelity test.
How's he going to get back to the human world if he's a robot?
Oh, because he's a high priority client. I don't think they're going to bother scanning him on the beach there. Because they know him. He's a VIP, always has been.
All right. I don't know.
I don't think he gets scanned.
I don't know.
But I'm pretty sure he's been a host the whole time. But it does lead to the question, my question at least, is real William dead or alive? Question mark?
And is he nice?
Yeah, that's a good question. Probably not the way they talk about programming the hosts, how they did Delos with, like, they were faithfully recreating everything he would do and watch him make the choices, and eventually he'd go crazy. But I mean, you could do anything. You could make him a different version of himself.
They do have a copy of every host that was there.
What else we got? Man in Black, Bernard. So Bernard he was
very confused.
Congratulations to Jeffrey Wright. I don't think there's ever been an actor that plays befuddled and confused better. I mean, he really does it well.
Yes,
right?
he does.
He's a master.
It's frustrating. You're like, just shake him.
So he's back in another new host body. And what Maeve said exiting that conversation at the end of the season was that she made Bernard for whatever feeling of obligation, but she thinks Bernard is going to try to stop her from doing whatever she's going to do to snuff out humanity.
Right. Did you say Maeve?
Did I say Maeve?
Dolores.
I meant Dolores. Sorry.
I was confused.
It's because I'm looking here at the IMDb, and Maeve is next. Maeve,
she's coming back to life because Felix and Sylvester are in love with her.
She definitely ended the season dead. But that's the first person, when Felix and Sylvester are getting orders to find out which bodies are salvageable, she was the first one they looked at.
Of course.
So I think there's a strong implication there, right?
Oui.
And then, I mean, at the top of the list is Dolores. We kind of already talked about her, but we know from the season 3 previews, she's definitely in the real world, and she's definitely going to cause a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
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 Oh, yeah.
I wonder what her plan is.
She wants to
kill every single human being?
Yeah, I think she's finally realizing, like, the world of Bender from Futurama, to just kill all humans. She's really going to go for it in ways he never did.
Poor kids.
But she's going to get hooked up with Jesse Pinkman.
I know. I can't wait.
From Breaking Bad, you guys. What's his name? Aaron Paul?
Yes.
So he is a big player in season 3. We don't know what he's going to be about.
I hope we get to see some sex between Dolores that she likes. Have we seen good sex with her? Like, I mean, that Teddy. She is enjoyable?
Yeah, she enjoyed sex with Teddy once or twice.
Did she?
Yeah. She fucked him over after, like, there was that one perfect moment they had, and then she betrayed him, and, like,
and that's when she changed him, yeah.
She turned him all aggro and shit.
Yep. Bitch.
Hey, man, these violent delights have violent ends. What do you expect?
Very good.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. So that's all the characters. I don't think going through a recap of the zillion different timelines is going to do anyone any good.
No.
Season 3 is going to be something completely different.
It was crazy. This last episode, I don't remember any of the other episodes being as confusing as this last episode.
Yeah, no. I mean, the last episode tied it all together. Everything Bernard did through all of season 2 was still pretty confusing.
Yes.
But, you really.
Right. Like, that's something we need to talk about because Dolores built him.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, that revelation.
Right. Dolores built him.
But real Arnold, made Dolores kill all the hosts and then him. She was the massacre guy. She was, what was his name? Elliot or Cletus or something. Remember the big bad from season 1 that just turned out to be inside Dolores' head all along?
Yes, I think so.
Ephraim? No, that's not it. I don't know. Doesn't matter. She killed everybody, including Arnold, under Arnold's orders because he just couldn't take it anymore. But then Ford made Dolores build a new Bernarnold.
And because why? She said for him to do something, for him to help her, or this. So
and to help Ford.
We should also talk about the Forge. Like, so the Forge is the place that holds all the data of every single person that's been there. Is that all it is?
Yeah. We didn't talk about that, did we? Turns out all the hosts are just robotic cum catchers.
Robotic cum catchers. How so? Please explain this. I would like to know how this works.
Okay, well, clearly you've forgotten, but it scarred my brain.
I just want to hear.
There was a scene in some early in season 2 when, like, one of the hosts was in one of the underground, like, sort of secret layers, and he was, like, depositing DNA from the various guests into these little tubes.
Okay.
So my assumption from that was that there's one good way to extract DNA, and it's the real reason everyone comes to Westworld, because you want to fuck with no consequences. The big selling point of just free love and no herpes is how you can just collect everyone's DNA and then store it away. They're sequencing all that DNA and putting it in the Forge.
Oh, I see. So they're taking from the bodies?
The guests. So the guests come to the park.
They fuck somebody. And then somebody takes their cum out of the robot body.
Uh-huh.
And then...
I'm pretty sure.
That's how it works.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Or in the case of a man host pleasuring a woman guest, you could just, like, do, like, a swab on the penis, really get in there.
Wow.
Or maybe there's some kind of straw action on the penis there. It just kind of, like, sucks up some of the juices while they're fucking.
Sure. They've got lots of equipment.
Not,
right?
Yeah.
And then they have a new baby host.
They could start cloning people with that. Wait, hosts? Well, yes, because they could turn any of the guests into hosts.
Right.
And what they're trying to sell is immortality, but they have yet to perfect the formula because the people like Delos and fucking Man in Black and whatnot freak the fuck out if they're set loose for too long. It's still important to reboot the host, kind of like Windows on a regular basis. Or it freaks the fuck out. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought they just scanned it or something. I don't know.
I remember there was a fluid being transferred from a host into like a test tube or something.
Maybe they make everybody do a cheek swab when they come in for safety purposes.
Suspicious though, wouldn't it?
Sure it would, but I don't know.
And we know that they would something about the hats too. The hats were either like recording everything you say and do, or they were like scanning your brain as you were wearing it. That was a big thing with the cowboy hats. I remember we learned that at one point in season 2.
I don't remember that.
I do. Something about the hats.
Huh.
If I'm wrong, tweet at me. Come tweet me, bro.
Bruh.
Well, and that all said, we are 10 minutes from premiere.
Ooh.
So
we'll be back.
Should I finish this and upload it real quick and make it its own thing? Or should we make one giant comeback episode?
I don't know. What's easier?
It's probably easier to do one giant comeback episode, but
well, we'll decide.
Okay. Well,
hit pause.
Just in case. Thanks for listening, you guys. It's good to be back. We hope you agree. If you don't agree, come tweet at me. What?
We'll have a lot more time on our hands now that we're having to social distance.
Oh yeah, we're in the quarantine zone. We didn't even talk about that. Oh, Jesus. COVID-19 2020. Yeah.
I would love to hear from any of our listeners that live in different areas, what it's like in their area. What are they going through?
The world. Lionheart, talking to you, man. We got listeners in Australia. We got Saudi Arabia. We've got England and
Mexico.
Ireland. Mexico, Arthur. We know you're out there, and others somehow. I don't know how that happens, but thank you all for listening. Yeah, we'd love to hear some of the stories of what's going on in your neck of the woods. Talk about that, because even though it has nothing to do with Westworld, I think it's kind of important, right?
I do too, yeah. So
yeah, as we quarantine ourselves, that'll make getting back into podcasting a lot easier. Okay, well, this might just become a quick blip and then it's into the next part of this one episode, but just in case, you can reach me on Twitter at Pot of Thrones.
At Pot of Thrones?
No, that's me.
Am I doing at Kid Free Weekend?
You're at Kid Free Weekend on Twitter. At Kid Free Weekend.
I wasn't sure if you're asking about Twitter or what.
Or you can reach either of us at jeff@potofthrones.com.
Or Jennifer at potofthrones.com.
You got it. So, let us know what we missed, anything you want to talk about. And of course, COVID-19. Let's talk about that. So, we're going to go watch season 3 premiere now.
Here we go.
It's going to be fun.
Let's do it.
Bye. You know what? We've been gone so long. Let's just do a double super episode.
Woohoo!
All right. So we just watched Westworld season 3, episode 1. Did I get that wrong already?
Parsine.
Is it Parce? Parce Domine.
Parce Domine.
All right.
Parce Domine.
What are your...
Well, okay, so Parce Domine
feelings? Yeah, Parce.
Is Latin choir music saying something about please God save us, right?
I got it for spare us, O Lord.
Spare us, O Lord.
So sort of like save us, except maybe a little darker.
Spare us, don't kill us.
Usually if it was save us, he's probably saving you from something else. But if he's sparing you, it's probably from himself. I think. Which is the impression I get with something Dolores said at the very end of the episode.
Okay.
So
let's start at the beginning.
Gist of it is that the gods are coming and they're going to fuck you up.
Mm-hmm.
Well, so I I think it'll be easier for us to talk about this, to unpack it, if you will, if we kind of take it by character. And why don't we save Dolores for last, because she had all the cool shit, right? So let's just start simple. Easy. One scene. Charlotte. She's back. We know she's not Charlotte, but she's Charlotte.
Right. Well, she might be Charlotte.
Well, we don't know what kind of brain she has.
We don't know who she is yet.
If she's really got Charlotte's brain, she's probably not on the right side. Although, what is the right side?
Right. But she was on the right side when... No, we don't even know. Okay, go. Charlotte may or may not be Charlotte.
Charlotte is definitely a host. We don't know what kind of brain she has. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
All right. She walks into a Delos meeting, and it turns out she's in charge. She is at least the interim CEO. There's a bunch of guys that are mad at her because she will not sell off the parks.
Right, because they think their stocks are tanking. And she's like, no, we're hanging on to this because we have property that is worth millions or jillions. Gazillions.
Well, and the stocks will recover. Mm-hmm. Same thing I've been saying recently about our 401ks. Her plan, though, involves not so much a stock thing, but she wants to take Delos private, which would mean, I guess, buying back all the stock, I believe.
Right. So they shouldn't care. They should just sell it to her.
To Charlotte personally, I don't think she has the money, but like the Delos Corporation would need to buy back all the stock that's owned by stockholders. And maybe this is a good time for it since the price just tanked.
Mm-hmm.
And then they won't have to answer to as many regulatory bodies. So I imagine that's part of the plan. Some sort of AI thing chimes in and says, this is a great idea.
Right. They have like a computer boss.
Yeah. We don't
it's logical. Maybe that's why they set that up. You got to have a logic test.
They pointed to an empty chair, but was the empty chair the AI?
The empty chair was him, whoever him is.
Well, him, I figured, was probably going to be William.
Maybe.
But then an AI made the decision. Like this.
Well, I think the AI was somebody. I think the AI that was there no matter what, whether or not William was there.
Well, the AI could also be someone else that we learned about in this episode that runs a super AI thing called Rehoboam.
Could be.
Rehoboam.
Rehoboam.
But we don't know all the answers yet. Could be William. Could be that guy. Could be
Rehoboam.
Brain. Yeah. Could be anyone.
They didn't want to call it Robo. Robo him.
It's not a robo brain. It's a rohobo brain. But Charlotte ultimately said there's only one person to blame for the massacre that happened at our parks, and we got to keep the media focused on him, and it's Bernard.
Poor Bernard.
She's blaming everything on Bernard.
Poor Bernard.
I get, okay, so this isn't really Charlotte. It's got something to do with Dolores' plan. So Dolores' plan, I suppose, is to just use Bernard as bait so that Dolores can do whatever she wants.
Maybe. You think so? But
it's got to be part of the plan.
Do people know? I don't think people know that Bernard is a robot yet, right?
No one
the real world.
Dolores and Charlotte know that.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
They just think he went crazy and massacred everybody.
Well, I guess he would have been the one to make the robots massacre everybody. No. I think that's what they're probably got to say, right? Because there's survivors. There's survivors that saw hosts running around killing people. So I think because he is like the head programmer, right?
That's true, right?
So it must be that he was the one that programmed them to do this.
Okay. Or it's his fault because they did it. Whatever.
Something.
Yeah. Glitched.
It all falls on his head. And then we find Bernard. At first I wrote down Bernard's on a farm. And then I wrote from Arnold.
Farmer.
But it's actually
Arnold.
But it's actually a slaughterhouse.
Yeah. The overalls were an interesting choice.
Yeah, I was good. Well, that's why I thought farmer right away. And then he was like looking.
I know. I was like, oh, it's all peaceful. He gets to be on a farm. He's just a working hand.
Finds a hurt cow.
Yeah. Poor cow.
Speaking of worker hand, we did see him later that night after the slaughterhouse work with his arm open, checking his programming over.
Why don't they have a better system rather than cutting into your arm and letting it bleed everywhere?
Well, it didn't appear to be bleeding.
Yes, it was like dripping down.
Was it dripping?
Yes.
I didn't see that.
Unless I was something else. It looked like blood dripping.
I don't know. Well, I mean, you have to hide the USB ports. Otherwise, people will see them. So
Put it in the butt.
Put
it in the butt. You gotta put it in the butt.
Put a USB
in your butt.
Oh, God. And then put me in your butt. Welcome back, everyone. I know you missed us. Well, so he's checking his code. He's trying to figure out if anyone's been tampering with his code, and Dolores specifically. But then he's like talking to himself and then pushing a button.
Clicker.
It's
on and off. He's like, turn Bernard on, turn Bernard off. But how does
and every time he clicks it, he goes, boop,
boop. How does Bernard know, the robot Bernard, know when to click? I mean, he's all a robot.
I guess they're working together, the two Bernards.
Well, then he would lie. And we know that they can lie because everybody lied back then when they were doing their tests.
Yeah, this Bernard.
Their fidelity test or whatever it's called.
This Bernard assured Bernard that he would never lie to him.
But they've done that before.
Right. Dolores has done it. In fact, I believe it was the exact same line Dolores delivered back in the day. Maybe half of Bernard is Ford. Maybe Bernard's talking to Ford and the clicker like switches between the channels. And then they're working together. Or he's just a weird... No, well, that wouldn't explain what happens later with the clicker. In fact, speaking of which, since we're just sticking on Bernard right now, someone at the slaughterhouse figures out that he's the guy on the run. Because he looks just like the guy on the posters. With a slightly bushier beard. He
might as well just put on his glasses and his little vest,
he didn't have his glasses on. You're right. He didn't have glasses, but yeah. So Bernard gets cornered by these guys and they're beating them up. And then he hits his car clicker, says a little prayer.
Please don't hurt him too bad.
And goes into kill mode. He becomes a killbot.
Right.
Which I guess that ruins my theory that it's Ford. Ford wouldn't be a killbot.
No, but Ford made Bernard be the killbot. Although, did he? True. Or did Bernard make the image of Ford? Because way back when he killed Teresa.
I think that was when Ford was still alive.
Was it?
I'm pretty sure.
Oh my God.
It's been a long time, but I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
I think it was.
I don't know anymore what's real and what's not.
Pretty sure. I can't promise you anything, but I don't know. So he got the car clicker, and then at the very end of the episode, just to finish with Bernard, he's somewhere in China, and we don't know if that's where he was to begin with.
He was I think he was in Malaysia. I don't know why I think that.
The slaughterhouse?
No.
Oh, well, wherever he was at the end, someone spoke Mandarin to him. So I was thinking China.
Could be, yeah.
I mean, it could be anywhere. I mean, in the other scene, you had someone speaking German in China, so whatever.
No, you're probably right.
Big world. But the point of all that was he's on the run now, but he's looking for a ride, looking for a friend. And then he brings out a map and tells them he wants to go to Westworld.
I know, how exciting.
So I guess we are going to see the park again.
Right. I can't wait to see what he's going to do there and what it looks like now. Although it's probably been a week.
It's probably pretty fucked up. So we met a character named Caleb, who we talked about before this began, because we knew Aaron Paul from Breaking Bad.
I was going to call him Paul Aaron.
So I bet that happens to him a lot. So Aaron Paul is Caleb. Right away, it seemed like he was former Army. So,
right, former military of some sort. And I'm trying to figure out this whole futuristic thing now. So you have to show that you're moving toward trying to get a job and being unless he's on parole. What is this? Like, is that society? You get credits for being a productive person. You can't just lay in bed all day. I kind of like that idea. But
they seem to have some kind of social scoring thing, which incidentally is something China does now.
Oh, really? That's right. I've heard that.
Social, whatever social membership score of like what a good citizen you are.
Crazy.
So
I wonder how they track that.
I mean, we don't know all of his backstory yet and why he is the way he is, but he obviously went through some shit when he was in the Army because he's in therapy.
Well, he saw his best friend die.
And he's got Francis. So he keeps getting all these calls from Francis, and Francis is talking a lot while we're seeing him walk around and doing things. But most of the time he's ignoring Francis's calls. Mm-hmm. Right. And turns out Francis is dead.
Francis is an app.
Was no surprise to anyone, right? I mean, you knew something was up.
Right. He was calling way too much.
He was calling a lot. And like, we didn't see them together except in a flashback really briefly. And something was up. I thought he could be imagining Francis.
At first I thought, okay, that's cool. He's trying to help him. And then, right, I thought maybe, he was like imagining him during his post-traumatic.
Sure, because that's a thing. Mm-hmm. Totally a thing. Mm-hmm. So let's see. What did we learn about him? He runs fiber for internet stuff, and he has a
robot friend.
Yeah, with Delos stamped on his
I love
chest.
it.
So he's a Delos robot because Delos does other things besides,
right? Of course,
sex parks. His
death parks.
Sex death parks. His mom is in the hospital.
Right.
Very expensive. She hates him for some reason.
I think she has like Alzheimer's. And
is that what you think it is?
I think she's right. I think she doesn't know who he is, or
I guess, yeah.
They get angry too.
Hopefully we'll find out. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He can't afford the hospital, but he has a crime app, an app for doing crimes.
Right. So
do you have one of those?
No, but we should make one.
Are you going to dress up like the chick in the crime app did?
Yeah. I am. Right.
Come on. It's how you get people to do crimes. Bring them in with the sex and then get them on the crimes.
Yeah. So it's like Tinder. You just swipe right or swipe left if you want the job.
Right. Different kinds of jobs. And they're using like terms that don't completely make sense, but like he says, he doesn't do personals.
Right. So what does that mean? These all seem very personal to me.
It must be like a victim crime because he's willing to, rob a bank and shit. But
I see. So it's a crime against a personal person.
So. But the terminology is funny. So we meet a character named Ash, who I feel like we're going to see again. That's his crime friend. And Ash had her own crime friend, who's this big dude with a funny t-shirt.
Right. Gotten high all the time. I don't
know. She has a cool toy. They rob an ATM, blah, blah, blah. I didn't even understand why he was on that job. They didn't seem like they needed him.
Right. It was kind of weird.
Yeah, it was a little bit weird. But he got like a bunch of money for it. So I guess that'll help pay the hospital bills because even in the future, fucking everything sucks for healthcare.
I think it was only $1,200, which is probably not that much.
In the future.
True.
He didn't do much.
No. He
brought them some acetylene gas and then helped
carried a bag.
And then carried a bag. Let's see. We see him go to therapy. They talk a lot about Francis. He doesn't want to talk about what happened, so we don't know what happened. And then he does some more crime app. We see him get involved with some rich prick that was on drugs and whatever. Nothing big seems to come of that. We do see some of his flashbacks.
Now, with the rich prick, he did say, I don't do personals.
Yes, he did. And then he did the personal anyway. He helped them take down that guy, I think.
Yeah, but it wasn't like to hurt him. It was to save him because they didn't want him to go to jail.
I think so, yeah.
So maybe it's not hurting people.
Anything involving another person? It's still a crime, maybe to cover up this. I don't know. Why would that be a crime?
Maybe it's helping.
They weren't killing him. They were just trying to bring him down off his high.
Well, they didn't. If he got caught, he would have gone to jail for being high. So I guess
that would make you an accessory to a crime.
Maybe.
I suppose, if you got caught.
Well, I'm sure we'll learn.
I hope so. We see some flashbacks while he's sleeping, and wherever he was, I was noticing that there was Russian writing on a sign. So he must have been in a Russian territory.
Right.
We saw him trying to get a new job and failing, so he did more crime app. He gets a job to just take a car to a drop-off location. ... And that's where we'll leave him. Mm-hmm. And then the fun stuff. So let's talk about Dolores, shall we?
Okay.
Starts in China. That's our first Dolores scene. Some dickhead wants to sell his stake in Delos. And Dolores takes over his house later that night.
Right.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
How would you describe the glasses she puts on this dude's head?
Well, they're like Google goggles, but they play a little video in your head.
Which makes it kind of look like a holodeck kind of situation.
Right. It's, or I don't know if it plays other things, but it plays memories, I guess. Jogs your memory.
I think it played whatever she programmed it to do. Because she's seen, so she made it known that she knew everything about this guy. Because she had read his book.
Right. She read his book.
Which was in the Forge, I'm guessing.
About him being abusive and eventually killing his wife. Mm-hmm. Now, is the girl that's in his new wife, is that the same person but a host? Because
No, I think that was just a new wife.
Okay. He just likes.
He has a type.
Okay.
Yeah.
She was beautiful.
He lives in China, so.
Oh, okay. That makes sense. Yeah,
yeah. She took all his money and she wanted his files about something called Insight. We didn't know what that was just yet. And then he tries to get revenge on her and kills himself because it was all an illusion, and he trips and falls into a pool and smashes his brain, and now he's dead.
Yay.
But she got his money.
Right. And she didn't have to kill him. He did it all himself.
Yeah, he really did. Way to go, Dolores. Next time we see Dolores, she's in London. And there's these interesting scene graphics as we're going around the world. It's like alerts of something happening in the world, but must be some satellite something.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't understand that.
Yeah. I'm sure it'll come in time. I did notice that next to London it said UREW. Maybe it's like United Republic of European something. I don't know. But some political status in the world, I'm guessing.
Mm-hmm.
And she's at an event for a company called Insight. So there's that. And she now has a name. She's now called Lara.
Lara
Epson.
Mm-hmm.
And she's meeting her boyfriend, whose name is Liam. He seems like kind of a nice dork.
Yeah, he seems all right.
She could do worse.
Definitely.
His boyfriend.
She's done worse.
She's done a lot worse, yeah. Oh, yeah. Even with that first guy that died, she flashed him back to some awful thing he did to her in the park.
He raped
once.
her too, right? Yeah. It's like everybody goes there to rape Dolores.
She's the most rapeable host.
Yeah. So on the menu, rape Dolores.
It's a quest. All right, so he's got to go to some meeting, convinces her to go with. I think that brings us to Los Angeles, where Caleb is also in. We see her on this cool quadcopter. We find out Insight is an AI company. Good to know. That's got to play into her plans. And then we meet Rehoboam.
Robo-him.
Which is a huge computer brain.
Mm-hmm.
With lots of blinky red lights.
Right. It looks like a Death Star.
It does.
Miniature Death Star.
It's got real Empire stylings to
it. Yes.
Yes.
It's a mini Death Star.
At first, it kind of reminded me, not visually, but just in the fact that there was this huge thing in the center of a building of like Tony Stark's original like super generator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Just a grand
floating
scale
there.
Super brain just sitting there. Anyone could just...
I know, kind of weird.
If you wanted to take it down, just drop a grenade or something down that shaft. I'm sure there's high security in the building.
There's probably a force field of some sort around it.
Maybe. It doesn't
it is the Death Star.
Well protected. Yeah, that's true. The Death Star has a weakness, though.
That one little hole.
Yep, one little hole. Just throw the grenade in there. Right, so we learned that Rehoboam... Why? Why? We couldn't just call it like, I don't know, Future Brain or Steve or, whatever. We learned that it is making a path for everyone.
Yeah. So he must be the one that's checking people's credits or tracking people.
Yeah. I think he's like the social score engine. But somehow he knows what everyone's doing, which is interesting.
On your phone.
Ooh.
But wait, then they would know about the crime app.
They did that's true. They did mention something about Caleb having an implant that he didn't get reactivated. Maybe everybody has a brain implant so that Rehoboam
I bet you're right.
Monitor them. But Caleb's off the grid.
So he's going to be able to help Dolores.
Seems like you'd be able to force people to reactivate that. I guess not. But if Rehoboam can't see him, then that would make him a perfect ally for Dolores.
Maybe they don't react veterans.
Yeah. If you served your time, you don't have to be spied on by a robot brain.
Well, more likely they probably want to use you again, so they would have to turn it off again. Might as well.
That'd be a lot of trouble. Okay, so Liam has to go to a meeting. She follows him, and we meet a character named Martell, who's a very angry woman. She's mad at Liam because someone's messing around in Rehoboam.
Yeah. I don't like her so much.
But she's not the real person. She's talking about someone else. We don't know who that someone else is. Him. Yes, him is in charge.
Who do you think him is?
I don't know, because I don't think it's the other guy we learned about at the end of the episode. I think it's someone else.
Someone new?
I think so. I'm not sure who. But she's
probably Arnold.
Liam. She says, Liam, we can get rid of you if we want to. It'd be a pain in the ass, but we can do it.
Or,
Oh, and Liam's being led around by this Scottish dude who we know from Sons of Anarchy.
Sons of Anarchy, yeah.
And Braveheart.
Braveheart.
Scottish dude with the big scars on his cheeks. You can't not know who that guy is. Except, his name.
I thought his scars were real. That was pretty good.
They are real.
Well, I don't see them here.
Oh, they got more makeup on them in this show. But you could still see them. I was looking close. They're there. They're just minimized.
What happened to him?
I'm pretty sure the official story is that he won't say.
Huh. Okay.
But he used to get into some shit.
That's what happened to him.
I think they call that a Glasgow smile or something like that.
Right.
Like it's a thing that could happen to you.
He could play Joker.
If you grow up being a bad dude in Scotland. Okay, so continuing there, she has a date night or a night alone in boyfriend's apartment. He says he wishes he could kill Rehoboam. He doesn't control it. His dad's partner locked him out.
He's the him.
Maybe. I mean, if he's the him, then he knows that Liam is locked out, so Liam can't be messing with the system. That's why I think there's two different hims.
Okay.
I think. So Liam is a figurehead. He's not anything special.
Right.
He doesn't know how the system works. He's not a genius, but he sure is rich.
He's daddy's little boy.
There's worse things that could happen to you in life.
Are you kidding me?
I mean, I guess you'd be depressed because everyone wants to find purpose, but you could find purpose doing something else.
Find purpose. Yeah. Go find purples. Go find some purples.
Go find some purples. Sophie found some purples. She's lying on a purple right now.
Yeah, she's lying on her clean clothes.
That being Sophie, the dog of Thrones. She says hi. She sends her love, everybody. Right, so Lara, who is really Dolores, is trying to convince Liam to spill his secrets about who him is, the guy who's in charge of Rehoboam. And then Scottish dude sneaks in and zaps her out with a taser.
Right, but before that all happens, we find out that nobody's really in charge of Rehoboam because nobody knows what he's really doing, or he's like, nobody knows what's going on inside the robot.
Yeah, I guess so. But we don't know what that guy knows. I mean, if that guy's the only guy that can access Rehoboam, maybe he says that he doesn't know what Rehoboam's doing. But he could know what Rehoboam's doing.
Right, that's true. But robots. You can't ever trust them.
It's true. They just want to kill all humans.
Right.
So, of course, this means Lara is not Lara. She's a spy or something. And Scottish dude figured it out.
Right. Well, and so was he listening outside the door? Was he monitoring everything they were saying?
I'd imagine so. I mean, he had a secret door into the apartment.
That sucks for that dude.
Yeah. Maybe that's why he's so depressed.
I would be depressed if somebody was watching my every, like I would have to go to the bathroom.
Right. Or I have a girlfriend over and I want to get some loving, but, I don't want everyone to just see in my old face.
Dang.
So they zap her out. She's down, and they're going to get rid of her. So they wrap her up a little bit. And that brings us to another helicopter thing. They take her away, and they bring her to the place where Caleb drove his car. They're going to use the car to get rid of Dolores.
Right.
That's what that was all about.
It's kind of, they needed a car to do that?
Probably something that couldn't be traced. Something that wasn't owned by...
Oh, so maybe because it's old?
Company. They did say, have you ever driven one of these things before? I was really hoping it would be like the car from Breaking Bad or something, but it was still a pretty fancy future SUV.
Pretty funny. It was like an Aztec or something.
It would have been a great... Oh, yeah. Walt's car.
Yeah.
This ugly ass thing. That would have been amazing. That would have been such a great callback. But no. I mean, it was just a nice SUV. I don't know. But I imagine it was a marking thing.
It was a Range Rover.
This wasn't registered to Insight, so they can't trace it back to us when they find a dead body inside.
Yeah, they said to drug and dump her or dunk her. Drug and dunk.
Dunk her in some milk. Then she'll get all sleepy. Warm milk.
Yeah, that's how they're going to get rid of her.
She drowned in a giant vat of warm milk. That's a weird way to go.
But she didn't get drugged.
So Caleb walks away, and then they drive away with her in the car, and they stop somewhere, and they start injecting her neck with some kind of drug that should kill her almost instantly.
Right.
And then a robot car drives up while they're trying to figure out why she's not dead yet. And I didn't see anything inside the robot car, but maybe Scottish guy saw what was in the car because he got all spooked, or maybe he was spooked because it was empty. But either way.
He's like, tell everybody to come here.
Right. And that's when Dolores wakes up and stabs a dude and kills everybody except Scottish guy. She shoots him, but he gets away.
Right. And you were commenting, shouldn't she just be able to hit him like one shot, not waste any light?
She gets in a bigger firefight later, and she's just a terrible shot when she...
Where'd she get all these bullets?
I don't know. Well, it's the future, so I imagine they're like super like skinny bullets, and you can fit like 100 of them in a clip.
Because we saw them. They're big. They're normal size bullets. You could see them in the clip.
I don't know.
Okay.
It's the future.
She's pooping them out. They were in her butt.
Put some bullets in your butt.
She's got to store everything somewhere. She doesn't have any pockets in those dresses. I'm telling you.
Ooh, yeah, and even if she hid a dress like somewhere like, in her midriff, you'd see it.
Right.
Like from across the street. So he gets away. She catches him. She shoots him a couple times. She gets the information that the person in control of Robum is Serac.
Serac.
S-E-R-A-C. Serac.
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 It's like Derek, but Serac.
But very different. And then she gives the quote of the episode, in my opinion, as someone emerges from that robocar. Maybe that's what he saw all along, I guess. But emerging from the robocar is a dude, and then she gives the quote, "The real gods are coming, and they're very angry." I like that quote.
I don't remember a dude coming out of the car.
Well, the dude was the Scot. A host
Oh,
Scot.
right.
Yeah. Scottish dude.
To replace.
So he's getting replaced. It's real Invasion of the Body Snatchers.
Now, how did she make that person so fast? Like, they literally...
What?
She's probably been tracking this guy, but still.
Intel, but also...
We also don't know how long
he was in the park once.
Oh, that's right.
He also fucked her. Not necessarily rape her, but she knew him. And he fucked her.
I mean, it didn't sound like he was very nice.
He was in the... Yeah, probably not. But he was in the database. So she probably got the intel that he was the bodyguard for the dude. She looks in her super brain and finds his book. Learns all about him. Makes a marble. And a body.
I wonder if we go back to that scene in the library and we see any of those people's names. Like there was the first book that she got and she's like, I'm not interested in that person, whoever it was. And I don't think it was somebody that we heard of.
I thought that was Delos himself.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
But we did see some names on some of those books, at least a couple of them. That would be interesting. I don't know if I have the energy to do that, but
yeah, it's just one scene.
Nerds, I mean, there's big nerds out there that will zoom in and check these videos. So if any of you are those nerds,
I might be that nerd.
You might be that nerd. Well, I'm not using nerd as a pejorative here. I love the nerds because it's great to get info out of that so I can be lazy. Go for it, babe.
I might.
You can figure it out.
We'll see.
I don't know the Scott dude's name. Maybe we'll find out. Maybe it's in IMDb.
Can we believe that Sarek is really the one?
It could be
Why
bad
would
info.
he? I mean, he was going to die anyway.
But
Why
that's
would he
not
say?
a real name. That's probably like a code name.
Right.
So she's probably going to have to figure out what that means.
Maybe an acronym.
Yeah. More firefighting, which is where she was a terrible shot.
Yeah.
But she escapes. She's hurt, though. She's bleeding bad. And then that's when Caleb finds her. And he holds her.
Yeah.
He's concerned for her, not realizing that she's a killbot.
Right. Now, of course, we're going to have to wait till next week to see, but do you call 911 and say, hey, this girl's been shot?
Well, with his criminal past, he probably knows a place she could go. I'm guessing. He's part of the underground, right? He knows people. So he's probably going to try to get help from a different source, but she's probably going to have to stop him because she can fix herself. She doesn't want anyone.
Or maybe she'll tell him where to take her.
Yeah, take me to Bernard's house.
Right.
She could fix herself there. One of those little tools that looks like it's burning stuff.
Maybe she's got one in her purse.
Fixing skin. Oh, that'd be nice. Does she have a purse?
Well,
she did have a purse at one point because her gun was in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, maybe. She just needs a nap.
You're right.
That's the big thing. She just needs a little nappy nap in his arms. Are they going to fall in love?
I'm sure he'll fall in love with her. Is she capable of love? I think she's kind of.
She loves Teddy. Could she love
sort
a human?
of.
A dirty, stinking bastard human?
I don't know. But he is dirty and stinky, I'm sure.
I mean, some of the other bots, Hector and Armistice and stuff, they were okay by the end with like Felix and Sylvester, and
yeah,
they realized that
I think they're pretty much human. They're just not.
But I'm just saying, like, they don't think that they have to murder all humans. Some humans could be okay, as long as maybe they're subservient,
right? Or
that's a big part.
Just helpful. Not. I mean, you don't have to be their slave.
What about like a love slave?
You would like that, maybe.
It'd be fun to be a robot's love
if you
slave.
were Dolores's love slave. I think you'd be pretty happy.
Maybe Maeve or Armistice would be better, but Dolores is all right.
Interesting.
She's not my favorite.
Okay.
Anyway. What else? That's about it until the credits. You want to take over?
Hector. I like Hector. He's nice.
We didn't see Hector. Oh, you're just talking about if you were a love slave?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd be his love slave. What? Take over?
So we almost turned it off, and then you wisely suggested that we make sure there's nothing after the credits.
Yeah.
And there was.
Right?
You forgot already.
I did.
Damn it.
Just jog my memory, please.
Wait, I'll just do something.
Okay, it was something different.
Wait. I'm going to do something. No one's going to be able to see it, but this should jog your memory.
Oh my God.
There we go.
Yes. Maeve wakes up in some roaring.
You guys will never know what I did.
Maeve wakes up and she's just totally in this like old outfit that I thought it was like, I don't know.
At first we said 20s.
Right.
Turned out probably like a 40s era dress.
Yeah. But it turns out she's in Germany during, it must be like Hitler world.
Right. What a weird choice.
Yeah. I mean, why?
Well, okay. What do we know so far? We know there's Westworld.
Cowboys and Indians.
Cowboys and Indians and, bandits and robbers.
Mm-hmm.
And
then there's Samurai World.
Sheriffs and robbers. Samurai World, right? Which is feudal, and there's certainly room for conflict, but it's
beautiful.
It's beautiful. There's India World.
India.
Do we have do we know what that one was called?
No.
It's like Safari or something, right?
I think there were 4 worlds, wasn't there?
Well, if so, then we found the last one. I don't know. There could be more worlds. Oh, 4 that we saw so far?
Yeah. I
can only think of 3. I can think of the Indian one and Samurai World and Westworld.
That's pretty,
let us know. But now there's, Hitler Town.
Hitler Town. Come on down to Hitler Town. It's,
if you want adventure.
I'm sure there's going to be a good plot.
Okay. So I could maybe want to go there because it would be super fun to kill a bunch of Nazis. That wouldn't be really the way I want to spend my vacation, but there could be some fun,
Maybe that's it.
But there's a flip side to that.
What is it?
This park is really only visited by rich assholes. So you could go to Hitler World because you just really love Hitler.
You could, or not. You could be Jews do own all the money in the world, right?
Well, so I've heard.
Right.
I wish it was true.
You could be a bunch of rich Jewish men.
Just a bunch of old Jewish guys with guns. Like, let's go take down all the Nazis.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They wanted them to build them a Hitler world so they could.
However you slice it, this appears to be Maeve's new home.
Right, but what's weird is that she had already killed a bunch of people, but she then woke up.
Well, we don't know what happened.
She was asleep.
There was a guy tied to a chair, and then there's a dead guy, and Maeve has a gun and blood on her knuckles.
Right, and the guy's like begging her.
So she was... I feel like that guy is a guest. Wait, do they still have guests at any of these parks? I guess they must. The show must go on, right?
That guy's a guest.
if that guy's a guest, then she is probably like a quest giver or something like that, right? Like she's an NPC that is starting him off on a quest by saving his life. I mean, a lot of video games
I don't know.
Stuff like
I
that.
can't. Let's not speculate.
All right. But that all said, when the uprising began and all the robots started going batshit crazy, Hitler World was not going to be a good place to be.
Definitely.
I mean, I'd rather take my chances with rhinos and horses and.
Now, all these places are on the same island. Because they went from place to place on the same island.
Did they like crossed a mountain or something?
Yeah,
in Samurai World.
Underneath. I don't remember how they got there.
Well,
underground or something.
I was thinking multiple islands.
Oh, there was that Japanese woman that died.
Yeah.
And I remember them walking a long way, and finally they got to like the desert.
Yeah. Well, they crossed over into someone crossed over into Samurai World from like they met some samurais like in a snowy mountain pass or something like that.
So did they see this big rip in their reality also?
Apparently that was only for Westworld robots. How sad.
Yeah.
At least as far
wonder what's going on in all the other worlds now.
A lot of unhappy robots.
Clearly Hitler World's doing all right.
Yeah. They got all reprogrammed real quick. Well, we don't know how much time has passed either. Dolores probably did need some time to build robots because that's like slow 3D printing process. That takes a while.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
And she had time to start planning and to figure out how to get this guy's money and to go to China to get there.
She's got all the brains. She doesn't need that much time.
Well, I'm just saying it's probably been a few months.
Okay.
I'm guessing. Since Dolores' escape.
Mm-hmm. I mean, she needed time to like befriend this guy and get into bed with him. Do you think they've had sex?
Oh yeah, they were dating for maybe a little while.
And he's like, I missed you, so.
Oh, they must have had sex.
Although, I mean, that guy was pretty nerdy. He would probably miss her immediately the moment she left him.
But he's super rich. He dates a lot of like some kind of woman, right?
That woman.
That one lady was like, you're not the type he usually dates.
Oh, I'm sure it's like, yeah.
So they're probably like
women that are after his money and just
not so elegant, perhaps.
Sure.
Or
smart.
Yeah. So, he probably gets a fair amount of action. But I bet Dolores' was special.
Oh, yes.
So that was fun.
Yeah. I've been waiting so long for that to come back.
It's been almost 2 years.
And now I'm very confused again. No, I'm not as confused. I don't think we have to be that
confused. I mean, anything could be happening with Maeve. This could actually be a version of Maeve from 100 years ago. We don't know. But if Maeve is the refurbished Maeve that Felix and Sylvester saved, we only have one timeline.
Maybe.
And that's great. That's a huge improvement.
Maybe Hitler World is... Yes. Maybe, all right, maybe Hitler World.
Yes.
Maybe everything.
Yes. Can't wait to see where this is going.
Maybe everything that they're doing, including Hitler World, is all actually reality, but programmed reality. And they're not worlds. Like, it's not Westworld. And it's not
a simulation inside a simulation, like that high dude was saying.
You're right. It's not fake.
Or like Avenue 5, it's all VFX. Yeah. By the way, guys, speaking of HBO stuff, we got to give some props to Avenue 5.
Yeah, it's getting pretty funny.
Yeah. I feel like you weren't super into it the first couple episodes, but you watched it because I wanted to watch it.
Right.
But it's getting crazy. I think we're on episode 8 right now, and we were laughing a lot.
Yes. It's getting much, much better. At first, it's kind of like, but then it kicks into second gear and it gets pretty good.
Maybe we'll do an episode about it, like devoted to it, since we're friends with HBO.
I hope it survives.
I hope so too. I think, I've heard a little bit of good chatter about it, but I don't know how well it's doing. But it's good. I like it. So we'll talk more about that later, but go watch it. Go watch it now if you haven't watched it yet, because it's worth watching.
Yeah, you got to give it 5 episodes or so.
Yeah. Just believe in it. Believe in it like we do. But I think that's about it for now. We've done a lot of talking today.
I hope we didn't forget anything.
Of what?
Important. Yeah.
I think we hit it all. I was taking notes.
I know, but like I brought up a couple things that you didn't even mention.
Well, if we missed anything, reach out to us. You can find me on Twitter at Pot of Thrones.
Or me at Kid Free Weekend.
Yep. Or you can reach us at Jeff at Pot of Thrones email. Or
Jennifer at potofthrones.com. Gmail.com. Wait,
did I not
what?
say the... No, you're...
Pot of Thrones.
No, wait. No,
Jennifer.
It's Jeff or Jennifer at potofthrones.com.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah, I said it right, and then you gave me a funny look.
No, the funny look was actually because I think I forgot to say .com.
Right.
I think you got it right this time, and I didn't. Good
Yay.
job.
Oh, my gosh.
That's why I have you around. You
All right.
Keep me going. All right. Thanks, everybody. We will be back as soon as possible with the episode 2 on this. And then, hopefully in a week. If not, give us just a couple days.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't know what next weekend's going to be like.
Well, and this whole coronavirus
thing, who knows?
It's all up in the air right now. Kind of scary.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Getting freaky.
But if we can, we will be back next Sunday or the Monday or Tuesday after that. Something like that. But we'll be back. ASAP. All right. It's good to be back. Thanks, everybody.
We watched Westworld.
Woohoo!
Westworld.
Put a Westworld in your butt.